स्वाध्याय टीव्ही. डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Namaste dear students. I Dr. Himanshu Patel welcome you from the Chaitanya studio of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. We are in lecture series on mobile application development in Android. Today we are going to learn about graphics. In last session we have learned how to create Android horizontal scroll view and how to display dynamically created view inside horizontal scroll view. Today our topic is graphics. We will learn how to draw shapes and text. We also learn how to define shape as a XML resource and then display it programmatically. With Android we can display images of type EPNG and JPG as well as text and primitive shapes. Primitive means basic shapes such as rectangle, circle, oval, rounded rectangle, etc. to the screen. We can paint these items with various colors, styles or gradients and modify them using standard image transforms. We can even animate these objects to give the illustration of motion, but today we only studied graphics, that is how to display different types of shape on screen. For displaying or drawing shapes on screen, we can use canvas and paint. These canvas object can be created by extending the view class for our own purpose and implementing the onDraw method. Inside onDraw method, we will specify what to draw. Canvas is available in package android.graphics and it holds the draw calls, means various methods for drawing different types of shapes. Now, there are methods available for drawing images, text, shapes and support for clipping regions. The dimension of the canvas are bound by the container. Now, you can retrieve the size of canvas using the getHeight and getWidth method also. Paint class is used for specifying style. So, it is also available in android.graphics package and it encapsulates the style and complex color and rendering information. That means, we can specify the border color, fill color, how to fill, etc. using these paint class. You can also specify the font that you want to use to draw text. There are different types of paint property that you can use. For example, paint color. These paint color specifies the color of shape to be drawn. You can set the color of paint using the set color method, which takes argument as a color. Now, you can specify paint anti-aliasing. These anti-aliasing features is used to make your graphics smoother on the screen. That means, whenever there is a sharp angle is there, you can use anti-aliasing features to smooth those area. You can also specify paint style. Paint style controls how an object is filled with color. Fill color is specified by paint style and you can also use paint gradients. These gradients specify the shades of different colors that you can use. So, all gradient needs at least two color, a start color and end color, and in between start and end color there is a various shades of color that automatically rendered by the gradient. These might contain any number of colors in array. So, minimum two colors are required, but you can use as many as color you specify. Now, this is a simple example how we can create canvas and implements its onDraw method. So, you can see here is a class view with red dot which extends view. So, this is how we create canvas and we implement its onDraw method. So, if you see inside onDraw there is a argument of type canvas and For example, first line write down canvas dot draw color. So, it specifies the color for drawing, which is black in this case. Then we can create paint object of name circle paint, and we can set paint color as a red color, and finally we draw circle using draw circle method. First two arguments specify the center of the circle, which is center of canvas. Third argument specifies the radius of circle, which is 1/3 of the canvas width, and finally we specify paint object. So, color will be filled as a red. And once you created these or define these canvas class, we can specify or create its instance inside set content view. Normally we use XML layout file inside set content view, but you can also create instance of these class inside set content view. So, our screen will be filled with canvas, and inside canvas we draw circle which is of radius 1/3 of the canvas width. So, this is how we can use canvas and paint together to draw something on screen. There is a one class which is dedicatedly available for drawing shapes on screen. So, you can define and draw primitive shapes such as rectangle and ovals using shape drawable. This shape drawable class is used with variety of specialized shape classes. For example, for rectangle there is a rect shape, for oval there is a oval shape. So, this shape drawable class is used inside or used in conjunction with other classes, which is a specialized for drawing particular shape. You can also define paintable drawable classes as a XML resource or in a separate file, and then you can fetch these XML resource inside your image view programmatically. So, you can draw shapes on screen using two methods, one using shape drawable class, another using drawable XML resources. But which of these method is preferred? When you want to draw complex shape, you generally draw programmatically. When you want to draw simple shapes, you can define it in XML file, or and then you can fetch this XML file inside image view. So, what type of shape that we can create using the shape drawable? So, answer is rectangle and squares. If height and width is same, then we can draw square. If it is different, we can draw rectangle. You can also create rectangle with rounded corners, that is rounded rectangle. You can draw ovals. If x and y radius is same, you can define circle. You can also draw arc and lines, and you can create other shapes defined as a path. For example, in our example we created star using this path shape. These are the different types of shape that you can use to draw on screen. You can use these shapes together to create more complex picture on screen. Today we will write down two applications. One, to define red rectangle with green border as XML resource and display it on screen. And second, we write Android application that display name of shapes and text in spinner, and when you select particular option, it will draw that shape on screen programmatically, and we will set different color and style for these shapes. So, we first define one graphics in XML resource and fetch in image view, and in second case we will create shapes dynamically based on selection from spinner. So, let us start. Here on screen you can see our first application is running. Here we have used gradient. So, there is a mix of red and white color is there, and you can see this border is dotted line with green color. So, let us learn how to draw this. Here I have already created one application, because we already know how to create application. So, there are 3 files here. One is our activity file, another is our layout file, and one file I have created inside this drawable folder with oval.xml name. How to create this oval.xml file? So, you have to just right click on this drawable folder, and inside this you have to specify drawable resource file. It will create one blank file. So, how to define shapes inside this XML file? So, our tag is, as you can see, is a shape. This namespace is automatically added. Here these shape property specifies what to draw. So, here I specify oval, means I want to draw oval shape. Next I specify this solid tag, which specifies our fill color. So, here I specify red color. First is F and other 2 argument is 0, means this color is red color. So, our fill color is red color. Next tag, which is stroke, that defines what is border color. So, here you can see our border color is green, because this is a RGB combination, red, green and blue. So, here green is F and red and blue are 0. So, we have border color as a green color. Next we specify border width using DP, which is divide independent pixel value. So, here I specify 3 DP. So, our width of drawing is 3. Next I specify dash gap. So, there is a gap of 2 pixels between every line, and lastly we specify dash width. So, it is a 4 width. So, these 3 arguments specifies how to draw dotted green line, and you can use either solid or gradient. Here I specify gradient. So, this solid will be override, but how to specify gradient? So, here I specify angle as a 90, you can specify 0 to 360. Our start color is red, our end color is white. So, using gradient you will get shape shade of this kind that you can see on the screen, and this degree will vary the shading pattern. So, by changing these 3 values you can understand how gradient works. So, once we have to define these shape inside XML resource file, and then we have to call inside our layout file. So, this is our layout file. Here there is a one text view with text shape defined as XML resource, and below it is a image view. We want to load these XML resource shape inside this image view, and here is a drawing XML resource.java file which represent our activity. So, inside this, in on create method I use set content view, and inside set content view we specify this layout file to be displayed, and here on top we define one object of type image view, and here we get reference of image view, and we can set this XML resource inside image view by calling method set image resource. I specify this file oval.xml. So, its ID is r.drawable.oval, and when you run this file you will get output like this. You can change this color, you can change gradient angle, you can change start color you can also change end color, and you can understand how to draw oval. You need to change shapes inside these Android shape argument. Here if you press control space, you will get 4 options: oval, line, rectangle and ring. So here we use oval. You can also choose other options for drawing different types of shapes. So this is how our first application works. Here is the output of our second application that I have already created. Here first is a text view which mentions select shape, then comes spinner with different types of shape name. Here I specify rectangle, rounded rectangle, oval, arc and path shape. By clicking on particular shape, you will get different types of shape. Here it displays rounded rectangle. Likewise, we have oval, we can have arc. These arc is from 0 to 345 degree, and lastly we will create path shape, and using path shape I specify star. This is our layout: text view, spinner, and below it is a image view where we fetch our shapes programmatically. There are two files for writing this program. One is activity file and another is layout file. So first we will look at the layout file. Here on screen you can see our layout file. First is a text view, another is a spinner, and below it is a image view. You can see the name of controls in component tree window. Now let us understand how to draw these shapes programmatically. So here is our activity file. Here I declare one spinner that represents spinner in design time. These image view object represent image view in design mode, and here is a array of string that specifies the name to be displayed inside spinner. Here I define rectangle, rounded rectangle, oval, arc and path. These names are fetched inside spinner that we have already discussed. Then we take reference of spinner and image view. We have set spinner background as a gray, and we fetch data from shape array using set adapter method, and inside it we create instance of array adapter. Here I implement set on item select listener, and inside these there are two methods: on item selected and on nothing selected, and we have already know what these argument represent. These position argument represent position of name inside spinner. So 0 represents rectangle, 1 represent rounded rectangle, 2 represents oval, and 3 represent arc, and 4 represent path. So here I write down switch case. Based on position we have to draw shape. So if position is 0, that means case 0, then we want to draw rectangle. So what we have to do is we have to create one object of type shape drawable, and name of these object is rect. So here I create instance of shape drawable, and inside it have to specify what type of shape we want to draw. So we want to draw rectangle. Here we write down new rect shape. Now these rect shape represent rectangle. Next we specify height and width for our rectangle. So our height is 50 pixels and width is 100 pixels. How to specify color to be filled for this rectangle? So here I called rect.getPaint method, which returns paint object, and we call set color method of paint object to set color for rectangle, and in our case this color is magenta. And once this shape drawable object is created, we have specified its height and width, we have specified its color, then you can fetch rectangle object inside our image view. So, here I call image views set image drawable method, and inside it I specify argument of type rectangle. So, this is how our rectangle is drawn when rectangle option is selected from spinner. So, here I am selecting rectangle option. So, you can see a rectangle height is 50 pixel, width is 100 pixel and its color is magenta. Likewise, in case 1 we have created same thing, but instead of rect shape we have used round rect shape. Now, remember, rounded rectangle can be created by specifying its radius at 4 corners. So, inside rounded rect shape I have created one float array, and these float array specifies radius for 4 corners. For example, these first two 5 5 specifies radius of top left corner, and remaining number specifies radius x and y for other corner in clockwise direction. Now, these two argument must be null, because suppose I want to create a rectangle with border. So, this is called outer rectangle, third is inner rectangle, and this is a insets. So, these two argument should be null when we want to create rectangle with only rounded borders. Next, we specify height and width for rounded rectangle, and we set its color as a cyan. And finally, like rectangle, we have fetch this rounded rectangle using set image drawable method inside image view. So, here I am selecting rounded rectangle. So, here you can see these corners are rounded. So, these 5 5 represent these radius, and there are 4 corners. So, 8 value should be provided, and its color is cyan. Next is a oval. So, here instead of round rect shape or rect shape, I specify oval shape. Oval shape is used to specify oval. So, here I take argument oval shape object, and then we can set its height and width like previous two examples, and you can also specify its color using oval.getPaint.setColor method, and finally, we fetch this oval inside image view using set image drawable. So, here I am selecting oval. So, you can see its height is only 40 pixel, but its width is 100 pixel. So, this is how you can draw oval. You can combine these shapes also to draw more complex object. Next is a arc. So, here I am selecting arc. I want to draw these arc which is ranging from 0 to 345 degree and with color cyan. So, here I create shape drawable object, and inside it I create arc shape object instance, and these 0, 345 first two argument specifies start angle and end angle. You can vary this angle to draw different types of arcs. Next two lines specifies height and width for arc, and these lines specifies color for our arc, and finally, we fetch this arc inside image view using set image drawable. So, this is how you can create arc. Next shape is a path shape. So, for creating path shape, you must create path. Now, we take one example of star. So, here I am selecting path. So, if you follow mouse pointer, this is our first point, then second point, third point, fourth point, fifth point, and finally we come back to origin. So, this is how we can specify path. Now, this point is a 50, 0. Now, this width is 100. So, this middle point is a 50 for x and 0 for y. Now, here if you can see, this is half of the center point. So, x is 25 and height is a 100. So, this point is 25, 100. Now, this point is a 100, 50, because x is 100 and y is half, that means 50. Again, this point is a 0, 50, because x is 0 and y is half, that is 50. This point is a 75, 100, and finally this is a 50, 0. So, first we create this path. So, in case 4 we create one path, and to create path we create instance of path class. Then we write down p dot move to. Now, this move to will set our initial point to 50, 0. Then what we want to do is draw line from 50, 0 to 25, 100, and then from 25, 100 to 100, 50, and so on. So, this is how these path represent our star. Next, we created one shape drawable object, and inside these I create new path shape object, and for drawing this path shape I use this path p, and these 100, 100 specifies width and height for our path. So, next two lines specifies width and height for this star drawable object. We set its color to yellow and we set its style to stroke. That means, we want to draw line without breaking, and finally we fetch these star inside image view. So, this is how we can draw path. Do not want to do anything inside, nothing selected. So, this is how you can fetch your shapes programmatically inside image view. Today what we have learned, let us have summary. Today we have learned how to define paintable drawables as XML resource file, how to use shape drawable class to display various types of shape using image view programmatically, and how to provide border color, fill color and style to shapes. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you and happy learning.
स्वाध्याय टीवी